supposed to be here. Not here, in this, well, we'll get to that part later. My name is Narabelle, and I need you to listen to me. I know this sounds crazy. I know. But you have to believe me. Right now, I'm just Maribel. But for a long, long time, I was Maribel. Capital M. The face of the 70s. You've probably seen the pictures, even if you don't know it's me. The Moonchild perfume ad, the one they banned in 3 countries, that was me. The Runway magazine cover with nothing but a live python and a smile, me again. I wasn't just a model, I was liberation. I was the future. I smoked on talk shows, I wore dresses that were basically just string, and I pushed every single boundary they put in front of me. I was it. Now I live in a quiet beige apartment in Century City that smells faintly of lemon polish and old roses. It's fine. My work, if you can call it that, is maintenance. I run a blog. Can you believe it? The woman who was the symbol of the sexual revolution, now she just types. I post about ageless beauty and classic style. I review $1,000 face creams that promise to reverse time. It's all a lie, of course. My followers are just women my age, all of us terrified, all of us pretending these little pots of goo or a magic shield. But it pays for the real treatments. The goal, see, is to stay relevant. That's the only goal. Don't let them forget you. Because if they forget you, you might as well just disappear. And that's the thing, isn't it? Disappearing. It doesn't happen all at once. It's not like a magic trick where 1 minute you're there and the next, poof. It's a slow fade, a dimmer switch. First, the big campaign stop. They want fresh, they say. We're looking for a new energy. Then the party invitations get smaller, less frequent. You go from the Met Gala to a brand launch for some designer you've never heard of. Then comes the worst part. You walk into a room full of people who used to weep to get a photo with you, and they look right through you. Or worse, they give you that polite little smile. The one that says, "Oh, bless her heart, she's still trying." You have no idea what that feels like. To build your entire world, your entire self on a reflection. To be told from the time you're 17 that your face is your worth, that your value is how badly men want you and how badly other women want to be you. I wasn't just a person, I was a symbol. And when the world moves on to a new symbol, what's left? Just a blogger. I was terrified of being invisible. I mean, truly, bone deep terrified. I look in the mirror and see the lines flocking to the corners of my eyes, the little sag starting in my jaw, and it didn't feel natural. It felt like an invasion. Like something was actively erasing me line by line, day by day. I would have done anything to stop it. Anything at all. And that's the problem. That's how this all started. I found someone who said they could. His name was Dr. Ymir. He wasn't some back alley butcher, God no. You couldn't even get his number unless you were somebody. His clinic was in a private high-rise in Beverly Hills, the kind with its own elevator that opens right into the lobby. The lobby itself was all white marble and orchids. It smelled like money and ozone, like a rich person's idea of a hospital. He was smooth, silver hair, a perfect tan, hands that looked like pianists. He didn't promise me the moon. He didn't say, "I'll make you 25 again." That's what amateurs say. No, Dr. Ymir just tilted his head, looked at me with this deep, total understanding and said, "We're not reversing time, Maribel. We're simply refining the present." I loved that. Refining. Like I was a masterpiece that just needed a better frame. The first procedure was what he called a silhouette lift. Not a full-on wind tunnel facelift, just a tweak, a lift. To restore the angles you were born with, he said, his voice like warm honey. I went under thinking about that. Restoring. When the bandages came off, I cried. Not from pain, from joy. It was me, but it was the me I saw in my head, the me I remembered, not the one the mirror had been showing me. The jawline was sharp again. The slight sag under my chin, gone. It was perfect. It was a miracle. For about 6 months, I was flying. The blog numbers went up. I got invited to a Runway magazine retrospective. People looked at me again. I mean, really looked. They'd lean in, squint, and say, "Maribel, you look incredible. What's your secret?" I just laugh and say, "Good lighting, darling." I was Maribel again. Not a capital M maybe, but close. And then, one Tuesday, I saw it. I was at my vanity, the one with the horrible magnifying mirror I'm addicted to, getting ready for some pointless luncheon. I was putting on moisturizer, and right by my left ear, just tucked into the hairline where he'd done the main incision, there was a pucker. It was tiny. You wouldn't have seen it. A little ripple in the skin, like a thread had been pulled too tight on a piece of silk. I touched it. It was hard. A little knot of scar tissue, maybe. But it wasn't the knot that scared me. It was the pucker. It was a flaw. It was an error. It was proof that this whole thing, this new beautiful faith, was fake. It was a construction, and it was failing. I couldn't stop looking at it. All day. I skipped the luncheon. I just sat there in my bathroom with that horrible magnifying mirror staring. The puckers seemed to grow. It became a canyon, a huge, gaping flaw that screamed liar at me. This perfect face, the one I'd paid a fortune for, was already breaking. The terror that washed over me, it was so much worse than before. Before I was fighting time. Now I was fighting this thing on my face.
I spent a week in denial. I told myself it was just swelling, that it would settle. I covered it with concealer. I tried to change my hair, wearing it down on that side. But I couldn't unsee it. I couldn't feel anything but it. My whole face felt like it was shrinking, pulling towards that one tiny, horrible spot. I called Dr. Ymir's office. I was frantic, babbling to his assistant about an emergency, about it all going wrong. His assistant, a woman with a face so tight it looked like polished ceramic, booked me for the next day. "The doctor will be happy to see you," she said, her voice not having an emotion in it. The point of no return. It wasn't the first surgery, it was this. Walking back into that white marble clinic, knowing the first fix had failed, knowing I was a junkie and I was going back to my dealer begging for another hit. When I walked in, he wasn't worried. That's what scared me most. He just smiled that easy silver-haired smile. "Ah, Maribel, it's settled beautifully, hasn't it?" The pucker," I whispered, pointing. I felt like a child. He leaned in, touched my face with those cool piano player fingers. "Oh, that," he chuckled. "That's nothing. A tiny bit of filler will smooth that right out. A 5-minute job." I almost collapsed in relief. "But," he said, tilting his head again, "while you're here," he stepped back and looked at me. Not like a person, but like a painting, like a problem to be solved. He said the lift was a triumph, but it's revealed a lack of volume in the mid-face. The canvas, you see, the canvas itself is a little thin. I didn't know what that meant. I just nodded. "We can fix that," he said, that smile widening just a little. "A structural graft. We take a little fat, a little material, and we build up that perfect cheekbone again. We make the canvas stronger." He was going to build on me. And I said yes. I said yes before he even finished. I needed it. I needed him to fix the pucker, and if he had to fix the rest of me to do it, fine. Waking up from that one, it wasn't the same. The first time was joy. This was just pain. A thick, throbbing, heavy pain. My face felt like huge. It felt like a mask. A heavy, wet mask. They told me not to touch the bandages, but that night in my perfect, quiet apartment, I couldn't sleep. I felt wrong. I went to the bathroom. I looked in the mirror. Bandages, tape, swelling, and 2 black eyes staring back. My fingers, they moved on their own. I had to see. I had to know. I peeled back a small corner of the gauze right on my cheek. It wasn't my skin. It was shiny, beep, waxy, purple shiny. And it was pulled so tight I could see the shape of the bone underneath it. But it wasn't my bone. It was sharper, different. I touched it. It was cold, and it didn't move. It wasn't skin. It was an object. I let the bandage fall back, but I couldn't unsee it. That wasn't refining. That wasn't restoring. That was replacing. And that's what I did. For 30 years, it became a cycle, a constant churning need. The structural graft made my eyes look too small, so Dr. Ymir fixed that. But the eye lift made my brows look heavy, so we fixed that. And the brow lift made my forehead too high, too blank. On and on it went. A new doctor when Ymir retired, then another in Switzerland, one in Korea. Each one saw a new flaw, a new problem to be refined. My money, all of it, just poured into this, into maintaining the construction.
I wasn't a person anymore. I was a project that was never, ever finished. I lost track of the real me. I'd see an old photo, the Runway magazine cover, the perfume ad, and I felt nothing. Just a vague sadness for that stupid, confident girl who had no idea what was coming. She was the before picture, and I was the after.
Then I was 73, and I was a mess. Nothing held anymore. The skin was thin, the seams were showing. The last doctor, a man in a bleak gray clinic in Munich, he'd made a mistake. My mouth wouldn't close properly on one side. A tiny, constant droop. I went back to him, weeping, begging him to fix it. He just looked at me with cold, tired eyes and said, "Machabel, there is nothing left to lift." But I found one more. Of course I did. A young, brilliant doctor in Brazil. He was the new genius. He promised me a total structural revision. He was going to use new materials, new techniques. He was going to rebuild me from the bone up. It was the last great procedure, the one that would finally make it all perfect. The healing was beyond pain. It was just a black, throbbing void. I spent 2 weeks in a haze, spying back, sitting in my beige apartment, waiting. And then the day came. The bandages. I sat at my vanity, the one with the magnifying mirror I'd long since thrown away. I just had a simple, clean mirror now. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from excitement. This was it. This was the one. I started to unwrap the gauze. It was stiff, caked with old blood and antiseptic. I could smell the chemicals. Round and round, the gauze fell into my lap, filling my silk robe. My face was cold, numb. The last piece came off. I looked up. At first, I didn't understand. I just stared. There was a face in the mirror, but it wasn't mine. It wasn't human. The skin was a waxy yellow-white, pulled so tight across the new structure that it shone. It looked like polished plastic. My eyes, my God, my eyes. They were just two small, startled holes, wide open, unblinking, because the skin was pulled too tight to lip and close. The cheekbones were huge, sharp ridges like 2 blocks of wood shoved under the skin. And my mouth, he'd fixed the droop. Oh, yes, he fixed it by pulling it all into a permanent, tight, stretched slit. A little line, like a ventriloquist dummy. The pucker by my ear that started it all. It was gone. My ear was gone. Just pulled into the side of my head, a little nubbin of cartilage lost in a landscape of shining, scarred plastic. The delusion didn't just crack. It shattered in one single, silent scream. I saw it. I saw all of it. The decades of slicing and pulling and refining and replacing, it all led to this thing this grotesque object. I tried to scream. I put my hands to my new, awful face, but the skin didn't move. It was hard, cold. I tried to scream, but the tight little slit of my mouth just twitched. A tiny hiss of air came out. I tried to find myself. I clawed at the mirror, leaning in, my breath fogging the glass. I looked, begged to find one thing, one freckle, one original line, one piece of me. There was nothing. She was gone. I had finally, completely erased her.
I'd spent my whole life terrified of becoming invisible, and I'd gone and done it. I'd replaced myself. That was the last time I saw my own face. So, here I am. Remember at the beginning, I said I wasn't supposed to be here. Here is this room, my apartment. It's been, 10 years? 15? The blog is gone. The phone doesn't ring. All the mirrors are covered. The windows are covered. The TV is off. I can't look at other people's faces. They're so soft, so real. I live in the dark with the pain. It's a constant, pulling, itching pain. The seams, the structures under my skin, they ache. My face aches. It's a prisoner, and I'm a prisoner inside it. The skin is pulled so tight all the time. My eyes are dry always because I can't quite close them. I have to put drops in every hour just to stop the burning. This is my life now. Just me and the dark and the eye drops. I was so afraid of being a bless her heart case. So afraid of being looked through. And now I'm just a ghost story. The old model who vanished. They think I'm dead, probably. Or in some home. In a way, they're right. Maribel is gone. Only the refinement is left. And it is so, so lonely living inside a masterpiece.
You don't know me. That's kind of my whole thing. I'm the voice in the dark. The person you never, ever see. My name's Claudia. I'm 28. And my job sounds way cooler than it is. I'm a runway showrunner. During Fashion Week, I'm basically mission control. I live in a cramped, dark booth above the chaos, glued to a headset calling cues. Q4, go! Lights up on beat. Music, track 7, now. I'm good at it. I'm damn good. My cues are perfect. The lights hit the sequence at the exact split second the beat drops. I'm the one who makes the magic happen. I make those 6-foot-tall goddesses look like they actually descended from Olympus. And then I watch them. I watch them from my shadow perch through a tiny pane of glass. They walk through the light I create wearing clothes that cost more than my car, and they just glow. They radiate this power. You can't understand what it's like watching that much effortless, perfect beauty, knowing you're the rumpled, stressed-out troll in the booth making it all happen. My goal? My real goal, the one I've never said out loud. I just want to be them. I want to be the one walking in the light. I want people to see me. I want them to gasp. Just once. Look, it's not like my life is terrible. That's the twisted part. I have a great family. Seriously. My mom calls me every night just to ask what I ate for dinner. My brother still sends me the dumbest memes, and they actually make me laugh. They love me. They think I'm smart and funny and so capable, but their love, it feels like a consolation prize. It's like they're loving a different person. They don't see this. They don't see the way the models look right through me when I have to go backstage. I'm just headset girl, the obstacle, the help. Yesterday was the last straw. I was under a console checking a cable, and I guess they didn't know the comms were live. Two of them, the big ones, were laughing. One of them said, and I'm not making this up, "God, can you imagine having to wake up as that?" The other one, the one on the Runway magazine cover this month, she didn't even pause. I'd literally kill myself. I just stayed there, under the table, until they left. I didn't even cry. I'm way past crying. It was just this cold, hard click inside my chest. My mom says I'm beautiful. My dad says I'm his smart girl. But it doesn't count. Their love is for the inside. It doesn't fix the outside. When you've spent your entire life being the before picture, the funny friend, the one they playfully mock, you stop believing in the quiet, supportive kind of love. It feels like pity. I don't want their pity. I want adoration. The loud, stupid, public kind. The kind that makes you powerful. The kind that makes you real. I finished the show. I made them look like goddesses, just like always. And as I was packing up my gear, alone in the dork booth, a voice right behind me whispered, "I can give you what you want, you know? I can make you perfect." I spun around so fast I knocked my headset off the console. It clattered to the floor, the sound echoing way too loud in the now empty auditorium. "Who's there?" My voice sounded stupidly small. Nothing. Just the hum of the cooling amps and a single sad-looking ghost light on the center of the stage. I flicked on the booth light. Empty. Of course it was empty. I'd been in here for 10 hours. The door was locked. My heart was trying to punch its way out of my ribs. I grabbed my bag, my hands shaking. "Get a grip, Claudia. You're overtired. You've been chugging stale coffee for 72 hours. You're hearing things." It had to be that. Just a stray signal, an echo in the comms. I got the hell out of there. The walk home felt gray. The city was loud, all sirens and traffic, but I felt like I was underwater. My apartment is small, but it's my safe space. Tonight, though, it just felt like a box. I made the mistake of looking in the bathroom mirror. The fluorescent light in there is always brutal, but tonight, I just saw it. I saw what those models saw. The tired eyes, the mousy hair, the skin that was never clear, the face that just wasn't right. I saw that. The God, can you imagine having to wake up as that? The I'd literally kill myself? I slid down the bathroom door and just sat on the cold tile. My phone buzzed on the counter, a text from my mom. "Hi, honey. Just checking in. I did great tonight, I'm sure. Call me tomorrow. Love you." That's what broke me. Not the model's cruelty. My mom's love. It felt like such a lie. A kindness you give to something broken. Something you feel sorry for. I couldn't take the pity anymore. I couldn't do another 50 years of being the before picture. I went to the medicine cabinet. I had a full bottle of painkillers from when I twisted my ankle last year. I walked into my bedroom, the open bottle in my hand. I wasn't even crying. I was just Colt. Done. And the room went white. Not a flashbang white, a sterile, clean white. It didn't hurt my eyes, but it bleached all the color from my room. It smelled sharp, like bleach in cold metal. And he was just there, standing by my dresser. He wasn't a monster. He was perfect. I mean, literally perfect. His suit was sharp, snow white, not a single crease. His face, my God, his face was so symmetrical, it hurt to look at. Not a line, not a pore. He looked ageless. His eyes were bright, crystal blue, but they were like looking at a picture of eyes. There was nothing behind them. He didn't smile. He just tilted his head, looking at the bottle in my hand. That's a very permanent solution to a temporary problem, Claudia. His voice was the same one from the booth, calm, smooth, and cold. I just stared. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. You heard me, he said. It wasn't a question. You are in so much pain. You're angry that their love feels like an insult. You don't want to be capable. You want to be adored. He knew. He said everything I'd been thinking my entire life. I am Dr. Vane, he said, taking a step. He didn't make a sound on the hardwood. And I can fix you. I can make you flawless. The girl on the Runway magazine cover, she will look like a rough draft next to you. He held out a hand. It was smooth, like white porcelain. Perfection, adoration, power. Everything you have ever wanted. It's yours. I finally found my voice. It came out as a croak. What's the catch? What do you want? Dr. Vane almost smiled. It was just a tiny, perfect clinical lift of one corner of his mouth. A trifle, an exchange. To get the new, you have to give up the old. Just the people who love you now, the ones who gave you that before face. My blood went cold. My family? Their love is a cage, Claudia. It's keeping you capable. It's keeping you this. To become that, he gestured to an invisible, perfect future. You must be free of it. And there it was, the choice. Decades of being the funny friend, the smart girl, the that, or everything I'd ever dreamed of. All that rage, all that pain from a lifetime of being invisible, it just boiled over. The model's laughter, the pity, the I'd literally kill myself, all it echoed in my head at once. My family, they'd be sad, but they'd get over it. They had each other. I had no one. Yes, I whispered. The word felt like it was tearing my throat, but it was also the easiest thing I had ever said. Do it. I don't care. Just make me perfect. Dr. Vane smiled. A full, perfect, freezing smile, and he snapped his fingers. The sterile white light flooded everything, and the last thing I knew was a cold, sharp, unbelievable pain, like 1,000 scalpels were sculpting me all at once. I woke up on my own bed. No white light, no Dr. Vane. Just the 10 a.m. sun slicing through my dusty blinds. My first thought was, what a messed up dream. I sat up. The pill bottle was on my nightstand, still full. My head didn't hurt. I wasn't anything. But the smell was still there. That sharp, cold, bleach and metal smell. I felt light. My body, which always felt heavy and awkward, now felt balanced. I stood up and it was effortless. I caught my reflection in the dresser mirror and I just froze. The woman in the mirror wasn't me. It wasn't Claudia. Claudia was a rough draft. This woman, Her eyes were huge, tilted up just slightly, a deep magnetic green. Her cheekbones were high and sharp. Her skin, my God, her skin was like poreless, creamy porcelain. My mousy, stringy hair was now a waterfall of thick, black silk. I stepped closer, my hands shaking as I touched my new face. It was me. But it was me sculpted, perfected. He hadn't lied. I was flawless. I spent the first hour just looking. I was a work of art. I walked outside, and the world changed. People looked at me. I mean, they stared. Men, women, it didn't matter. I walked into my usual coffee shop, and the barista who'd barely grunted at me for 3 years dropped a cup. He stammered. He gave me the coffee for free, his face bright red. I felt this rush, this incredible, dizzying power. I wasn't headset girl. I was her. I quit my job the same day. I walked into the top modeling agency in the city. The receptionist looked up, and her jaw went slack. Within a week, I had a new name, Cleo. Within 2 weeks, I was on a plane to Paris. Within a month, I was the most famous new face in the world. I was walking the shows I used to run. I'd be on the runway, and I'd catch a glimpse of the new headset girl in the dark booth looking stressed and rumpled, and I'd just smile. The models who had mocked me, I saw them at a casting. They looked at me not with recognition, but with awe, with jealousy. They were the ones in the shadow now. I was the one in the light. It was everything I wanted. Every magazine cover, every designer, every party. People didn't just look, they gasped. And I didn't think about my family. That was the weirdest part. I was so busy, so high on the adoration. I'd see my phone, see the missed calls from my mom, and just feel nothing. A cold, smooth blankness. I'd text back, "So busy, talk soon." They were the before. I was the after. I didn't need them. Their pity love couldn't reach me anymore. I had finally been set free. I was in Milan at the Peak. I had just closed the biggest show of the season. I was on the Runway magazine cover, the one the girl had been on. My agent, a tiny vibrating man named Hassel, handed me a glass of champagne, his hands shaking with excitement. "You're not a star, Cleo. You're a religion." That's when my phone rang. I saw Dad on the screen. I rolled my eyes, annoyed at the interruption, and stepped onto the balcony. The street below was packed with photographers screaming my new name. "Cleo! Cleo!" "Hi, Dad. I'm super busy." His voice was a sound I'd never heard before. A dry, broken, tearing sound. "Claudia, oh God, honey, it's your mother." I looked at my perfect, long-nailed hand. "What about her?" She was in an accident on the turnpike. A truck. Honey, she's gone." I stood there, listening to my father sob, and I waited. I waited for the grief, the pain, the tears. Nothing. I felt inconvenienced. "Oh," I said. My voice was smooth and even. "That's terrible." There was a long, terrible silence on the line. "Claudia," he whispered, That's all you have to say?" "I have to go, Dad. The designers are waiting." I hung up. I went back inside, took the champagne, and smiled for the cameras. 2 months later, I was in New York. I got another call. My brother. A sudden, shocking brain aneurysm, gone in an instant. I was at a fitting. I said, "What a tragedy," and then asked the stylist if the dress came in view. The payments were being collected. The coldness, it was terrifying. It was like Dr. Vane hadn't just sculpted my face, he'd sculpted my heart. He'd carved out all the before parts, and it turned out that's where the love was. I tried to stop it. I finally felt a flicker of something, fear. I was in my new penthouse apartment, all white walls and glass, overlooking the entire city. It was sterile, cold. It smelled very faintly of bleach. "Dr. Vane!" I screamed. "I know you're here. Take it back." He appeared by the window, silhouetted against the skyline. Still perfect, still cold. "I don't understand," he said, tilting his head. "You are the most adored woman on earth. You have everything you wanted. You're killing them," I shrieked. I want my family." "You gave them up, Claudia. You were very clear. You didn't want their pity. You wanted this. An exchange is an exchange, and the account is almost balanced." "No, please." I ran at him. My hand went right through him, like he was made of cold smoke. "Stop it. What's left?" He looked at me, his blue eyes holding nothing. "Just the last of the old you." I knew. My dad. I ran. I dropped everything. I grabbed my keys, raced to the airport, bought a ticket. I flew home, my heart, for the first time in a year, trying to hammer its way out of my chest. I got to the house. It was dark. An ambulance was parked at the curb, its lights off. A paramedic was zipping up a black bag on a gurney. "No, no, no, no," I whispered. "Ms.?" the paramedic said, looking up at me. He didn't recognize me. Why would he? "I'm sorry, miss, are you a relative?" "That's my father," I choked out. He just looked at me. "I'm sorry, miss, but Mr. Ayres had no other family. His wife and son passed recently. His daughter Claudia, she died in a fire in New York about a year ago." My blood stopped. I grabbed his arm. "What? No, I'm Claudia. I'm right here." He pulled his arm away, looking at me like I was insane. "Ma'am, please, we have to go." They loaded him into the ambulance and drove away. I stood on the lawn of my empty childhood home. I didn't just lose them. He erased me. The pact wasn't just my family for my new face. The price was me. Claudia, the girl they loved. In the world's memory, the capable, funny girl had died. And this thing, Cleo, was born. I live in the penthouse. It's vast, silent. My agency thinks I'm eccentric now, a recluse. It just makes them want me more. I have everything. I'm 29, the highest paid model in history. My face is on every billboard. My body is worshipped. And I am completely, agonizingly, finally alone. My apartment walls are covered in my own covers. The Runway magazine, Elle, Harper's, me. A million perfect, dead-eyed versions of myself staring back. My phone buzzes constantly. It's on the white marble table, 100 feet away. I don't look. It's just agents, designers, celebrities, strangers, all of them telling Cleo how perfect she is. I wanted adoration, and I got it. But it turns out adoration is just noise from people who don't know you. I wanted love, and the only people who ever gave it to me, the only ones who loved Headset Girl, the ones who loved me, I traded them. I was so afraid of being worthless, so terrified of being invisible. I go to my bathroom. The mirror is a mile high. I stare at the perfect face, the flawless skin, the symmetrical eyes. This is my final, expensive, perfect body, and I am the most famous, most beautiful, most desired woman in the world, and there is not a single person on earth who knows my name.
You know that feeling when you walk into a room and everyone stops talking? The air just gets sucked out and all the eyes, every single pair, snap to you like magnets. God, I miss that. I miss it so much. It feels like physical hunger, like a hollow pit right in the center of my stomach that nothing can fill. Right now, nobody is looking at me. I'm sitting in this waiting room in Zurich, and the lighting is terrible. It's that cold, blue-white clinical light that finds every single flaw. I've been checking my reflection in my compact mirror for the last 20 minutes. I found a new line today. Just a tiny one, maybe 2 millimeters long, right by the corner of my lip. It's laughing at me. The receptionist, a little brunette thing, maybe 25, with terrible posture, didn't even look up when I walked in. She just asked for my ID and told me to sit. No spark of recognition, no, "Oh my God, aren't you?" Nothing. Just, "Sit down, ma'am." Ma'am. I hate that word. It sounds like dirt being shoveled onto a coffin. I crossed my legs, smoothing down the silk of my dress. It cost $4,000, but in this light, I just look like a rich old lady trying too hard. The chair is uncomfortable, some modernist leather thing that's horrible for your back. I'm just sitting here, tapping my nails on the armrest, waiting for Dr. Novick. He's supposed to be the miracle worker. He's supposed to be the one who turns back the clock. I'm not here for a facelift. I've had 3. I'm not here for fillers. My face is already stuffed so full I can barely frown. I'm here for the protocol. That's what they call it. I don't care what it costs. I honestly don't care if it hurts. I just need to get back to 0. I need a reset. Because if I have to go to the grocery store one more time and have the cashier look through me like I'm a ghost, I think I'm going to scream until my throat bleeds. You have to understand, I wasn't just a model. I was the 70s. When I was 20, I was on every cover that mattered. Vogue, Harper's, Cosmo. I was the one who made it okay to show skin. I walked down a runway in Paris in 1974 wearing nothing but a sheer mesh top and a look that said, I owned the world. And I did. I owned it. Men crashed their cars staring at my billboards. Women cut their hair to look like me. I was electricity. I was dangerous. People think the worst thing about aging is the pain or the sickness. It's not. It's the invisibility. It happened slowly. At 30, I was mature. At 40, I was classic. By 50, I just evaporated. The trauma isn't something that happened to me. It's what stopped happening. The phone stopped ringing. The photographer stopped chasing me. I went to a gala last month. Me, the woman who used to host these things, and a security guard asked to see my ticket. He didn't know who I was. He looked at me with this polite, pitying smile, that "be careful, Grandma" smile. That night, I went home and sat in front of my vanity mirror for 6 hours. I looked at the loose skin on my neck. It feels like wet dough now. I looked at the way my eyelids droop, heavy and tired. I tried to find the girl I used to be, the sex symbol of the decade, but she was dead, buried under layers of time and gravity. I felt like I was suffocating. My entire life, my entire worth was about being looked at. Without the gaze, do I even exist? I'm 55 years old and I feel like I've already been dead for 5 years. That's why I signed the papers for Dr. Novick. He promised me youth. He said he found a way to reverse the cellular decay. He didn't say anything about stopping. He just said I would be young again. And honestly, I'd trade my soul to see heads turn one more time. Just one more time. You wouldn't believe the high. Seriously, cocaine has nothing on being adored again. 2 months after the protocol, I wasn't just back, I was a goddess. The cover of Vogue called me the timeless miracle. My skin was tight as a drum, glowing with that impossible peach fuzz radiance I hadn't seen since 1978. I was booking campaigns left and right. Younger girls, the ones with millions of followers, they were terrified of me. I walked into a room and sucked the oxygen right out of their lungs. I was at a shoot in Milan last Tuesday. It was for a high-end lingerie line. Very classy, very expensive. The photographer, Paolo, was obsessed with me. "Yes, Anne-Marie, the light loves you. You are eternal." I felt invincible. I was wearing the silk robe waiting for the next setup, holding a glass of champagne. I went to do my signature hand gesture, brushing the hair back from my temple, letting the light catch the diamond ring on my index finger. It's a massive rock, a vintage Cartier piece I've worn every day for 30 years. It's never left my hand. I brushed my hair back and clink. The ring didn't just slip, it flew off my finger. It hit the concrete floor of the studio and rolled away under a lighting rig. The room went silent. I laughed it off, of course. "Oh God, I've lost so much weight with this new training regimen," I chirped. Everyone laughed with me. Paolo made a joke about me being too skinny. But when the assistant handed the ring back to me, my stomach dropped. I tried to slide it onto my index finger. It didn't fit. It was loose, like comically loose. I tried my middle finger. Loose. I tried my thumb. It slid on easily. I stared at my hand. It didn't look like the hand of a refined woman anymore. The veins were less visible. The knuckles were smaller, smooth, unformed. It looked like a child playing dress-up in her mother's jewelry. I hid my hand in my pocket for the rest of the shoot, but the ice in my stomach didn't melt.
The real horror didn't start with a scream. It started with an ache. 3 nights later, I woke up at 3 a.m. My legs were throbbing. A deep, dull ache in my shins and thighs. You know that feeling when you were a kid? Growing pains? It felt exactly like that, but reversed. Like something was grinding, condensing. I stumbled to the bathroom to get some water. I turned on the light and leaned over the sink, splashing cold water on my face. When I looked up, I didn't recognize the person in the mirror. I mean, I knew it was me, but it wasn't the me I had paid for. The sharp, predatory cheekbones that made my face famous, they were gone. My face was round, soft, puffy, not fat, just shapeless. The definition along my jawline had dissolved into this doughy, youthful curve. I opened my mouth to check my teeth. And that's when I saw it. My gums were bleeding, not from disease, but from shifting. My teeth looked too big for my mouth. They were crowded, pushing against each other because my jaw was shrinking. I panicked. I ripped open my silk robe. I stood there naked in the harsh bathroom light and started to hyperventilate. My waist was tiny, too tiny, but my hips? My womanly, curved hips that had driven men wild for decades, they were vanishing. My body was straightening out. The curve was flattening. I wasn't looking at a 25-year-old woman anymore. I was looking at a terrified, flat-chested 15-year-old girl. I didn't sleep. I spent the next 4 hours eating. I ate everything in the fridge. Cheese, bread, leftover pasta. I thought if I could just pack on the calories, I could stop the shrinking. I could force my body to be a woman again. At 8 a.m. sharp, I called Dr. Novik's private line. Beep, beep, beep. The number you have dialed is not in service. I called the clinic's main line. Disconnected. I threw on a tracksuit. The pants were dragging on the floor. I had to roll the waistband 3 times and drove to the clinic. I didn't care about the speed limits. I needed him to fix this. I needed him to stop it. When I got to the building, the directory in the lobby was blank where Harama Kisa Therapeutics used to be. I ran to the elevator, jammed the button for the 4th floor. The doors opened to an empty hallway. The glass doors to the clinic were unlocked. I pushed them open. Gone. Everything. The white leather chairs, the expensive art, the medical equipment. It was just a concrete shell. Dust motes dancing in the sunlight. There were rectangular clean spots on the floor where the desks used to be. They hadn't just moved. They had been scrubbed from existence. I stood in the middle of that empty room, and for the first time in my life, I felt small. Truly small. I went home and went straight to the door frame in the kitchen where I used to measure my height for costume fittings. I grabbed the pencil. I stood as straight as I could, heels flat on the floor. I made a mark. I grabbed the measuring tape. 2 weeks ago, 178 centimeters. Today, 165 centimeters. I had lost 13 centimeters. I sat down on the kitchen floor and poured a glass of wine to calm my shaking hands. I took a big gulp, desperate for the buzz. I immediately spit it out. It tasted vile, bitter, poisonous. My tongue curled away from it. It wasn't the wine. It was my palate. My taste buds were changing, rejecting the alcohol. Because children hate the taste of wine.
I stopped answering the phone 3 weeks ago. I couldn't. The last time I tried, my agent, breathless with excitement about a Vogue cover, hung up on me. He thought I was a prank caller. He screamed, "Put your mother on the phone." I wanted to scream back, "It's me, you idiot! It's Anne-Marie!" But the sound that came out of my throat was high, thin, and piping. It was a 5-year-old's voice. I locked the penthouse door. I barricaded myself in. I thought if I stayed still, maybe it would stop, but time doesn't stop. It just kept rewinding, faster and faster. My beautiful apartment, my sanctuary of glass and steel, has become a torture chamber. Everything is too big. The kitchen counters are cliffs I can't scale. The fridge is a fortress I can't open. I've been living on boxes of cereal I managed to knock off the lower shelves before it got too short. Yesterday, I was 7. Today, I am maybe 3. I'm wearing one of my silk scarves tied around me like a toga because even my smallest t-shirts hang off me like tents. I tried to escape an hour ago. I knew I had to get to a hospital. I dragged a dining chair over to the front door. It took everything I had. My muscles are weak. useless, doughy toddler muscles. I climbed up, my little legs shaking, reaching for the deadbolt. I got my fingertips on the metal. It was cold. I pushed. I strained until my face turned red, but I didn't have the leverage. My hand slipped. I fell. I hit the marble floor hard. I didn't break anything. My bones are rubbering now, full of cartilage. But I just lay there and sobbed. It wasn't a woman's cry. It was that jagged, gasping wail of a frustrated toddler. I hated the sound. I hated myself. But the worst part? My mind is still here. I'm 55 years old inside this soft, clumsy shell. I remember my lovers. I remember the taste of expensive scotch. I remember the flashbulbs. But my brain is starting to feel crowded, foggy. It's like the hardware can't run the software anymore. Complex thoughts are slipping away. I tried to think of the word for existential, and it just wasn't there. I crawled to the mirror in the hallway. A toddler stared back. Big, wet eyes, chubby cheeks, a face that should be full of wonder, but is filled with a lifetime of terror. I looked at that face and realized I got what I wanted. I am young. I am fresh. I am new. And I am completely helpless.
The sun is setting. The light is turning orange across the floor. I can't walk anymore. My legs bow out. My center of gravity is wrong. I'm on my back on the rug. The Persian rug I bought in Istanbul. The patterns are so close to my face. I'm cold. I try to pull the silk scarf over me, but my hands, they don't work right. The fingers are tiny, pink, useless. They keep curling into fists on their own. The grasp reflex, I can't stop it. I feel a pressure in my head, a squeezing. It's my skull plates. They're moving, unfusing. The soft spot, the fontanelle, is opening up on the top of my head like a sinkhole. The fear is still there, but it's changing. It's not the fear of losing my career anymore. It's simpler, darker. It's the fear of the dark, the fear of hunger. I want my mother. I haven't thought about her in 40 years. I hated her, but I want her. I want to be held. The room is getting bigger. The ceiling is miles away. My thoughts are breaking apart. I am Anne Marie. I am Anne. I am bright light, loud noise, cold. My lungs burn. I try to take a breath, but the air feels wrong, too thin. I need fluid. I need the water. I curl up, knees to chest. It's the only way to be comfortable. The silence is heavy, and the darkness is closing in from the edges of my vision. I wanted to be seen. I wanted everyone to look at me. But now, I am so small. I am nothing. I am a speck of dust on a rug in an empty room in the sky. I close my eyes. The heartbeat is so fast now. Thump, 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 like a bird. Then it slows. Thump, thump. Back to the start. Back to the nothing. Youth isn't wasted on the young. It's just alone. And the bill? The bill is finally paid.
Did that story make your skin crawl? that's just a taste of what's lurking. Show your support by liking and subscribing. We're all in this together to survive the next spine-chilling story.